The kingdom of secrets beneath the waves, beneath the shimmering waters of a mighty river, hidden from mortal eyes, thrived a world of unimaginable beauty. It was a kingdom untouched by time, its crystalline palaces glowing with an ethereal light, and its people, the Marin spirits, beings of elegance and mystery, moved with grace like the currents themselves. This secretive realm rarely interfered with the human world, but on Orient market days, its inhabitants would ascend to trade. Veiled in human guises, they blended among the villagers, bringing rare treasures from the depths. Their beauty captivated the villagers, but no one dared question their origins. Among the marine spirits, Ugommiri was unparalleled, a being so luminous that her very presence seemed to soften the sun's harsh rays, and even stars seemed to dim in her presence. Ugommiri had a habit that set her apart after the market's bustle, captivated by the simple joys of the village life. Drawn by the simplicity and warmth of the villagers' lives, she often watched them gathered in the square of Ebedezi, where they danced to the hypnotic rhythms of the Ojin drum. Her heart swelled with wonder as she observed their joyous celebrations, their connection to the earth, and their unshakable faith in unseen gods. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Ojin dancers swayed, and the music filled the air. Ugommiri's gaze fell upon a figure at the center of it all, Ojamdilim, the village melodist. He was no ordinary musician. His music seemed to hold the very essence of life, each note weaving a spell that bound her heart. The haunting beauty of his melodies resonated with her spirit, awakening a longing she had never known. And as if by fate, Ojamdilim too noticed her. This woman whose beauty seemed almost otherworldly. Her eyes held the depth of the river itself, and her smile, though gentle, was profoundly captivating. Summoning his courage, he approached her. Are you not from this village? He asked, his voice trembling with both curiosity and admiration. No, Ugommiri replied softly. But your music, it draws me here. It speaks of things I cannot name but feel deeply. Their conversation flowed as naturally as the river's current, and as the stars began to appear, Jamdilim played a song for her. The melody was tender and reverent, a hymn to her beauty and the mystery she embodied. Ugommiri's heart, once as unyielding as the ocean's depths, was now awash in love. The villagers soon noticed the enigmatic woman who visited their village so often. Ugommiri's beauty was unlike any they had seen. Her skin glowed faintly, and her eyes sparkled like moonlit waves. Her kindness and humility endeared her to all, yet she remained a mystery. Among her admirers was a wealthy merchant who became obsessed with her. He showered her with gifts, promising her a life of luxury if she would become his wife. But Ugommiri, ever gracious, turned him down. My heart belongs to another, she said, leaving the merchant boiled with both heartbreak and jealousy. The merchant's persistence reached its peak when he organized a grand feast in the village square. His plan was clear. He would declare his intentions before the entire village, hoping to pressure Ugommiri into accepting him. As the feast reached its height, with the merchant preparing to make his announcement, a melody pierced the air. It was Ojamdilim, his flute weaving a spell that silenced the crowd. Ugommiri, seated beside the merchant, felt her heart leap. She rose, unable to resist the call of his music, and ran to him. Their hugs was as natural as the meeting of river and sea. The heavens seemed to rejoice, releasing a gentle rain upon the drought-stricken land. The villagers, stunned by the sudden blessing, turned their attention to Ugommiri and Ojamdilim. The elders, wise in the ways of omens, approached the couple. Who are you, child of beauty, that the heavens would bless us at your touch? They asked. Ugommiri, hesitant but resolute, replied, I am a traveler from a faraway land. I came here for peace, and now I have found love. You are welcome to our land, says the elders. The depths of her watery kingdom, Ugommiri's absence had not gone unnoticed. When she finally returned, her family confronted her. Where have you been, Ugommiri? The scent of the surface world clings to you, her father thundered. I have been among the humans, she confessed, and I have found someone who fills my heart with a joy I cannot deny. Her parents were horrified. You are a Marin spirit, her mother said. You cannot bind yourself to a human. It is forbidden. Their world will taint you and you will lose everything. But Ugommiri stood her ground. Her love for Ojamdilim was unshakable, and she would not let it be denied. In the quiet solitude of the river's depths, Ugommiri sat among the coral gardens of her childhood. The light from above refracted through the water, casting shimmering patterns on her face, yet her heart felt heavier than ever before. The laughter of her people echoed faintly in the distance, but she could not join them, not when her heart and soul were caught between two walls. She gazed at her reflection in the water's surface. The face that stared back was familiar, yet different. Her skin, once luminous and cool like moonlight, seemed warmer now, almost human. Her eyes, once as tranquil as the deep sea, now held the spark of a flame lit by Ojandilim's melodies. Was she still truly Marin, or was she becoming something else entirely? Her mother's words echoed in her mind. You cannot bind yourself to a human. It is forbidden. Their world will taint you and you will lose everything. Ugommiri clenched her fists. Was it truly forbidden, or was it merely fear? Fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of losing their timeless sanctuary. Yet, as much as she loved her people and her kingdom, she couldn't deny the truth that had blossomed within her. The joy she felt with Ojamdilim wasn't a fleeting infatuation. It was a connection so profound that it felt as if their souls had always been destined to meet. That evening, Ugommiri swam to the river's edge, where the surface met the world of men. She hovered there, letting the gentle current pull her in two directions, back toward her kingdom, or forward toward the village where Ojamdilim dwelled. She closed her eyes and let herself drift, surrendering to the river's wisdom. The current carried her gently toward the surface, a sign she could not ignore. As she broke through the water, the cool night air brushed against her skin, carrying with it the distant sound of a flute, Ojamdilim's flute. The melody was soft yet powerful, a song of yearning and hope. It was as though he called out to her, not just with his music, but with his very soul. In that moment, she realized the truth. Her love for Ojamdilim did not weaken her identity as a Marin spirit. Instead, it enriched it. For centuries, her people had remained hidden, safe but isolated. What if this love, this union, was not a betrayal of her heritage, but an expansion of it? What if her bond with Ojamdilim was the bridge that would connect her people to a world they had long avoided, fostering understanding and harmony? Her return to the Marin kingdom was met with unease. The council of elders and her family demanded an explanation. Her father, stern and unyielding, spoke first. Do you not see the danger in what you've done, Ugommiri? The surface world is fleeting, fragile. Their lives are but a moment compared to ours. What will you do when he's gone? Ugommiri looked at him, her voice steady but her heart trembling. It's true that his life is fleeting, but does that make it any less meaningful? Must we measure the worth of love by its duration? Ojamdilim has shown me a joy and a depth of feeling I never knew existed. And in loving him, I have come to understand myself more deeply. Her mother's voice, softer but no less worried, interjected. What of your duty to your people, to your kingdom? You cannot abandon us for the sake of one man. I do not intend to abandon you, Ugommiri said, her gaze sweeping across the assembled spirits. But I also cannot abandon my heart. Perhaps it is time we stopped fearing the surface world. They are not so different from us. They love, they dream, they celebrate life. And through my bond with Ojamdilim, we can build a bridge between our worlds. When the matter was brought before the Marin queen, the tension in the court was palpable. The queen's voice, resonant and wise, broke the silence. Ugommiri, Your words carry wisdom, but your choice carries risk. To unite our worlds is to invite change, and change is often met with resistance. Are you prepared to bear this burden? For if you fail, it will not only be your heart that suffers, but the balance of our realms. Ugommiri stepped forward, her resolve shining like the light of the surface wall. I am prepared, Your Majesty. Love is not a weakness, it is the most profound force in existence. Through love, we find courage. Through courage, we find unity. I will bear whatever burden is necessary to prove that our worlds can coexist. The queen studied her for a long moment before nodding. Very well. You will have our blessing. But know this, the path you have chosen is not an easy one. It will require sacrifices, and it will change you in ways you cannot yet foresee. That night, as Ugommiri prepared to leave her kingdom for the human world, her parents approached her. Her father, once stern, now looked at her with a mixture of pride and sorrow. You have always been stubborn, he said, his voice softer than she had ever heard. But perhaps that is what makes you strong. Go, Ugommiri, follow your heart, and know that you will always have a place here no matter what. Her mother embraced her tightly, whispering, We may not fully understand your choice, but we love you. Be happy, my child. As Ugommiri ascended to the surface, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. She was no longer just a Marin spirit or a woman in love. She was a bridge, a symbol of unity. And in her heart, she knew that she had made the right choice, not just for herself, but for both worlds. Ojamdilim was not just a musician, he was the heartbeat of the village. His music was inseparable from the Ojin dance group, a troupe of vibrant dancers who carried the soul of Ebedezi village in their rhythmic movements. The Ojin, a traditional drum with a deep resonant sound, was at the core of their performances, and Ojamdilim's flute wove through its beats like a thread, binding the fabric of life. Together, they brought joy to weddings, harvest celebrations, and moonlit gatherings in the village square. Ojamdilim's passion for his music made him a beloved figure, especially among the villagers' young women. His charm wasn't just in his looks, but in the depth of his artistry. When he played, his music seemed to reach into the hearts of all who listened, leaving no room for sorrow or worry. For many, he was a dreamer worth dreaming of. Several women in the village harbored feelings for Ojamdilim. Their admiration wasn't just for his music, but also for his humble and kind nature. Among them were Adaora, the weaver. Known for her intricate patterns and quick wit, Adaora often found ways to be near Ojamdilim, delivering fabrics for his performances or casually joining the Ojin rehearsals. Her laughter was loudest when he told a joke, and she never missed an opportunity to catch his eye during a dance. Kioma, the healer's daughter, quiet and reserved, Kioma admired Ojamdilim from afar. Her gifts of herbs and remedies, though ostensibly for his voice, were her subtle way of expressing affection. She once whispered to her best friend that his music was the only medicine her heart needed. Ogechi, the leader of the Ojin dance troupe, a fiery and skilled dancer, Ogechi often positioned herself at the forefront of performances, her movements daring and expressive. She believed that if anyone could match Ojamdilim's intensity, it was her. She teased him often, but deep down, she hoped her boldness would capture his attention. When Ugommiri began visiting the village, her ethereal beauty and otherworldly grace captured Ojamdilim's heart. The once attentive musician seemed utterly captivated by this mysterious woman. His flute, which once sang to the rhythm of the Ojin dancers, now seemed to echo Ugommiri's presence. Every note carried a longing that could only be understood by the woman from the river. The other women noticed the shift almost immediately. During rehearsals, Ojamdilim's gaze often wandered to the edge of the square, where Ugommiri stood watching. His music grew softer, more soulful, as if played for her alone. Adaora, usually light-hearted, began to retreat into silence. What does she have that I don't? She asked one evening while weaving under the moonlight. The threads in her hands trembled as the jealousy grew. She started to avoid the Ojin rehearsals altogether, unwilling to see Ojamdilim's attention fixed on someone else. Kyoma's unspoken feelings turned into quiet heartache. She confided in her father, who told her, if his heart is not yours, then it was never meant to be. She took solace in her work, tending to villagers in need, though her eyes often glistened with unshed tears when she heard his music. Ogeki, however, refused to accept defeat. A stranger cannot steal what belongs to us, she declared to the other dancers. She confronted Ojamdilim after a performance, her tone sharp. What spell has that woman cast on you? We've danced to your music for years, and now you play only for her. But Ojamdilim, ever gentle, replied, because it has found its song. I cannot change this, even if I wanted to. The villagers were quick to notice the dynamics at play. Whispers filled the market square as they debated Ugommiri's mysterious allure. Who is this woman that has enchanted our melodist? She's too beautiful to be ordinary. Could she be a spirit? The young women are heartbroken, but who can compete with such grace? Despite their curiosity, most villagers admired Ugommiri's kindness and humility. Her willingness to join in their simple celebrations endeared her to many, even as her presence created tension among some. As tensions brewed, Ojamdilim took a bold step. One evening during a village festival, he invited Ugommiri to dance with the Ojin troupe. The dancers hesitated, unsure if she would join, but Ugommiri, with a warm smile, stepped forward. Her movements were fluid and mesmerizing, as though she was born to dance to the Ojin's beat. The women watching her couldn't help but be moved. Her grace was not a challenge, but an offering, an invitation to unite rather than divide. One by one, they joined her in the dance, their rivalry melting away in the shared rhythm of the music. In the days that followed, Ojamdilim's relationship with Ugommiri became a symbol of harmony. He continued to play for the Ojin group, his music now richer and more vibrant than ever. The women who once vied for his affection found new inspiration in their dance, realizing that their strength lay not in competition, but in their shared passion for the art. Ugommiri too became a beloved part of the village. Her love for Ojamdilim was undeniable, but her kindness extended to all, forging bonds that transcended jealousy. Together, she and Ojamdilim brought the village closer, uniting them in a celebration of love, music, and dance. In the end, the Ojin dancers, the villagers, and even those who had once envied Ugommiri came to see her not as a rival, but as a blessing, proof that love, when genuine, could transform not just individuals, but entire communities. When Ugommiri chose Ojamdilim over him, the wealthy merchant's heartbreak festered into a storm of resentment. He had spared no expense in his pursuit of her, offering her riches, jewels, and promises of a life filled with luxury. Yet she had walked away with nothing but a humble melodist whose only wealth was his flute. The rejection humiliated him, especially in front of the entire village during the feast. Consumed by his wounded pride, the merchant vowed to reclaim Ugommiri, or at the very least ensure that no one else could have her. The merchant began a campaign of whispers, planting seeds of doubt about Ugommiri's true identity. He told villagers that she was no ordinary woman, hinting at sorcery or an otherworldly origin. Some began to question the sudden blessings of rain and prosperity that coincided with her presence, while others dismissed his claims as the bitter words of a spurned suitor. The merchant sought out the most feared oracle in a distant land, offering her gold and gifts to reveal Ugommiri's secrets. The oracle, a wise and cryptic figure, warned him, "The woman you seek is no mere mortal, but a spirit of the waters. To possess her is to defy the balance of the world. Do so, and you will bring ruin upon yourself." But the merchant ignored the warning. believing that with the right power, he could bend even fate to his will. Frustrated by his failures, the merchant turned to darker means. He sought out an old sorcerer who was said to command forbidden knowledge. The sorcerer, intrigued by the merchant's desperation, agreed to help for a price. The merchant sacrificed his most prized possessions, including his vast wealth, in exchange for a potion that would allow him to charm Ugommiri and bind her to him. However, the sorcerer issued a dire warning. If you use this magic against her will, the forces of the river will rise against you. Choose wisely. On the wedding day, Ugommiri left no direction to her village. For the merchant, neither Ojamdilim. The villagers, led by the elders, sought guidance from the oracle. Your journey will take you across 7 rivers and 7 forests, the oracle warned. Only the chosen one can summon the Marin bride for the greater future blessings. Determined, the merchant planned one final act of desperation. On the eve of the wedding, he lured Ojamdilim into the forest, pretending to offer a truce. Instead, he and his hired men ambushed the melodist, stealing his flute and binding him to a tree. With Ojamdilim out of the way, the merchant returned to the village and declared that Ugommiri had chosen to flee with him, claiming she had grown weary of the human world. On the wedding day, the villagers, led by the elders, gathered to seek the Marin bride. The oracle's guidance had foretold that only the one truly worthy could summon Ugommiri from her kingdom. The merchant, emboldened by the potion and his false story, stepped forward first. He brought lavish offerings, golden trinkets, rare gemstones, and fine silks, believing that material wealth would impress Ugommiri's people. He played a crude, discordant tune on Ojamdilim's stolen flute, hoping it would summon her. The waters stirred briefly, but instead of welcoming Ugommiri, a violent wave surged forward, drenching the merchant and washing his gifts away. The villagers gasped as they realized the truth. The river rejected him. In the meantime, Ojamdilim, freed by a passing hunter who heard his cries, rushed to the riverbank. Weak but determined, he played his flute with all the love and longing in his heart. The melody was pure, resonating with the very soul of the water. The river calmed. From its depths emerged Ugommiri, adorned in shimmering garments and accompanied by her Marin king. She gazed at Ojamdilim with a love so radiant that even the villagers could feel its warmth. Seeing Ojamdilim's triumph, the merchant made one last desperate move. He charged toward Ugommiri, brandishing the sorcerer's potion. But as he uncorked the vial, the river's waters surged up like living beings, pulling the merchant into their depths. He screamed for mercy, but the river showed none, dragging him into the Marin kingdom's prison, where no mortal had ever returned. It was said that his punishment was eternal, to serve as a warning to those who sought to corrupt the balance between the two worlds. With the merchant's threat vanquished, the wedding proceeded. Ojamdilim and Ugommiri were united, their love celebrated by both villagers and marine spirits. The story of the merchant's greed and downfall became a cautionary tale, while Ugommiri and Ojamdilim's love lived on as an enduring legend of hope, unity, and the triumph of the heart over pride and ambition. The villagers gasped as the river opened, revealing the magnificent kingdom beneath. The wedding was a spectacle like no other, blending the traditions of both realms. The Marin Queen herself blessed the union, and Ojamdilim's music filled the underwater halls, echoing through the depths. After their union, the love between Ugommiri and Ojamdilim became more than just a personal bond. It transformed both their worlds, leaving a legacy that bridged realms and reshaped the lives of humans and marine spirits alike. The first rains that followed Ugommiri and Ojamdilim's wedding were unlike any the villagers had ever seen. Gentle but abundant, the rains brought an unprecedented bounty. Crops flourished, rivers swelled with life, and the drought-stricken lands blossomed with greenery. The villagers began calling it the Blessed Rain, believing it to be a gift from Ugommiri, the Marin bride, who had chosen to walk among them. Every rainfall thereafter was seen as a blessing, a reminder of the unity between the Marin spirits and the human world. Children would rush outside during the rains, laughing and singing songs inspired by Ojamdilim's melodies. Elders would sit on their verandas, telling stories of the Marin spirits who brought prosperity to their land. Rain, once feared in excess or absence, became a symbol of balance, life, and love. With Ugommiri's influence, the once humble Oye market transformed into the region's most renowned trading hub. The Marin spirits, now more comfortable interacting with humans, began trading openly, bringing treasures from the depths such as iridescent pearls, rare coral ornaments, and exotic underwater herbs with healing properties. These goods attracted traders from distant lands, eager to glimpse the Marin's wares and hear tales of the legendary union between Ugommiri and Ojamdilim. The market became a symbol of harmony and collaboration. Every Oye Day, the villagers would gather not only to trade, but to celebrate with music, dance, and storytelling. Ojamdilim and Ugommiri's love story became a central theme, retold in countless variations to inspire both young and old. Every time a flute's melody danced on the wind, it reminded people of Ojamdilim's love for Ugommiri. And every time the Ojin drum echoed through the hills, it spoke of the enduring bond between two worlds. Ojamdilim's flute melodies became timeless, passed down from one musician to another. Each note carried the essence of their story, inspiring people to embrace love, unity, and the courage to bridge divides. If you are not following us yet, this might be goodbye. But if you are, congratulations. Enjoy the tale, share your thoughts on the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring timeless stories. Together, let's spread love and kindness. Peace.